Hey guys, HuShang here. Welcome to another analysis series video. We're going to be covering a PvP today between Hydra, who's about mid-GM I think, hopefully I don't get that wrong, and a pro gamer, or at least relatively close to a pro gamer, Geralt. I think he's 6.6k or something like that. He's very high, but he has a unique style. I think a lot of pro players don't like playing against Geralt. Because he's got such a weird style. So let's see how this game progresses. I believe Geralt is a Polish player, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know too much about the EU scene, but Geralt's definitely a really strong pro, or a strong Protoss. So we'll see how this game goes. PvP these days has changed quite a bit as well. With the new battery, I'm not quite sure how the matchup's going to play out anymore. Before, you were able to do a lot of proxies, and if you did get past the proxy phase, there was another huge wall, which was the Charged Archon attack phase. So we'll see how it's developing here at the high EUGM level. But just some normal stuff here so far. He's getting one extra guy on gas, which is usually indicative of either a Stargate opening or a Stalker Sentry opening. You need a little bit more gas for those builds. So probably not something like Adepts into Stalkers into Expansion. Okay, so Hydra's scouting. He sees a low chrono boost, which generally means we're not getting cheesed. But at this level, you can't really be sure. Sometimes they give you false signals just to throw you off. Stalker Sentry, and Geralt is opening up double Stalker. So Hydra's going to be playing the defensive role here. Geralt will probably try to pylon block, see what units come out for Hydra. But he did lock his probe in, so this could be a kill if Hydra wants to go for that. So Geralt knows he's playing a very passive opening, so he could be pretty greedy behind his pressure here. Let's see what happens. So Hydra's looking for some proxies. I believe Geralt hit his first pylon, so that's a little bit suspicious, but so far, nothing found. So this is the first time Hydra's really going to see what's going on with this Phoenix Scout. But he's playing it relatively safe. Looks like he's grabbing a tech structure already, a robo. I think this is super fast. Usually you make a lot more Stalker Sentry instead of this. So he's only on, what, 4 units at the moment. Okay, so the Phoenix Scout came in at this point. I'm not sure if he looked at it. Let's go look at it. So he does see the Stargate. He does see a Twilight Council follow-up, so that's pretty nice stuff. Now he did go Robo, which I wouldn't do if I was in his position. I would definitely go for a Twilight. Like usually I want to get that scout before I decide on a tech choice. So I think already he's in a little bit of a difficult position, but we'll see how this plays out. He's also got a ton of gas, which could definitely be used for another sentry here.
Your probes are under attack.
Oracle comes in, 2 stalkers are in position though, so that's totally fine and dealt with. Let's see the worker count though. Yeah, so already Hydra's falling behind because of how fast this tech is. It's kind of counterintuitive, but you really want to slow down that tech. Otherwise, your opponent's just going to get a sweet probe lead. So it would have been much better here if Hydra had, you know, chronoed his probes like a madman, made some more Stalker Sentry first, and then got his tech. And I think that would have played out a bit nicer. But it's not too terrible. Just 3 workers behind. Maybe more of a big deal in GM, but if you were like Masters or lower, then this is super negligible. So he totally just ignored the robo, yeah. Which makes sense, right? So probably better just to have skipped that and just not gone for it at all. And then he would have been in a nicer position at the moment. Chrono is +1. I think that's also a mistake, actually. Again, you should really go for the probes here. And then only chrono the +1 once you're fully saturated, I think is a better play. So he's using the observer to scout. This is interesting, actually. Like, he didn't make too many Phoenix, so he's going for the observer scout. I think it's better to do the Phoenix scout, but I mean, this isn't the worst option. Okay, so he sees a sentry. Let's see what else he gets. Like, I mean, at this phase of the game, you're usually looking for an all-in. Like, did he actually get a forge? Or is he doing some sort of cheese? I don't believe he looked at that observer or Phoenix at all. I could be wrong, but I don't think he checked anything. Unless he was like super fast and the game didn't catch it. But okay, so he has a forge. So I mean, from here you know he's playing super macro, so you don't need to do anything too crazy. React too crazy. You can just grab your third base. So both people are transitioning into Charizard Archon here. And they're both doing it in the super safe way. Actually, Hydra's being like really over safe, getting 8 gateways. And Geralt is getting 6, which I still think is super safe. Because that's the way we were doing it pre-patch. And so with the shield battery, it's maybe viable to do it with 4. Or even less. We'll have to see. Maybe Zest can show us the way. But I think 8 is pretty overkill right now, unless he's planning on doing an all-in, which could be the case. So Geralt's taking his third and putting on some pressure with Blink Stalkers, which is getting to be more standard these days. Oof. Almost got that sentry. Close call. Actually, I think if he got that sentry, that would have been really bad for Hydra. Because he would have no info on this third base coming up. Is that 10 gates, or did I miscount earlier? 10 gates? What? Alright, well this is a pretty big blunder for a Grandmaster. Getting 10 gates on 2 base. You really don't need 10 gates. Especially if you're making Immortals. 8 gates is the magical number for spending all your money on 2 base. So he does have a third base, so I mean he got a bunch of gates, so he's pretty much all in now. He really has to go for this attack. But yeah, definitely 8 gates is the way to go here. So he's got 2 Immortals. 3 Immortals actually. Maybe a little overkill. And a pretty late move out as well, but let's see. So the +2 is finished. I mean, I think this type of attack would work against anybody who's not a pro. It's an extremely hard attack to hold, actually. But I don't see Geralt having a problem holding this. Like, he hasn't been super greedy, I don't believe. He should be at just over 44 workers, which he is, 48. He hasn't seen a third base, so he can pretty much just stop probing to defend this. And with the overcharge, this should be an easy hold, I would imagine. Ooh, actually really bad micro by Geralt. Trying to get that War Prism. He did get it, so it wasn't without some benefit, but yeah, I mean the shield battery overcharge is just so insane. And then there was a lot of small mistakes with the macro. I actually think if this attack was better executed, Hydra probably would have won because of that miss micro at the beginning of the fight. If we want to rewind a little bit. Yeah, I think if this attack was much sharper, then this could have been game ending. Because generally if you do this type of all-in, you just go with +1 and you hit quite a bit faster. But the way this attack was executed, it would have been much better to just grab the third and then do this attack, so it wasn't as obvious to Geralt what Hydra was doing. But yeah, so right here, I mean, geralt makes a huge blunder with his army. Kind of move commanding his units for a second there. But this overcharge helped a lot, and I think just making 10 gates and coming in a bit late was problematic. Let's see if we can go back in this game, and let me show Hydra how to execute this attack. This all-in a little stronger. So if we go back to here, let's see, what time is it? Yeah, so 6 gates. Right, so you're over defending here as well. Like, this is definitely a period where you should be super greedy, even though he's going Blink Stalkers. He's not really all in. Like, you scouted the forge as well and the extra gates, so you knew he didn't have too many units here. So if I go back maybe 6:30 and play from here, we can try to execute something a little more tight. Okay, so let's see where you're at. So you have 4 gates, 6 gates actually, +2. Yeah, so I would cut out this +2 and just go, let's go from here. This should be fine to hit the attack. Let's see if we can reset these hotkeys. Okay, so we need 2 more gates to get up to 8. Get a War Prism right away. Preferably more Immortals earlier so that we don't have to make them at this point. Like, I think 3 wasn't a terrible number, but you get them before these gates, and then that way we don't have to be getting them now, because we won't be able to do the attack if we get them now. We'll be super late. So let's just pretend we have 3 Immortals here, or 2 or 3 Immortals, something in there. And
that needs a power field inside the blue circle.
So again, this is gonna be slightly later, but something more like this without the +1, pushing out very quickly and trying to take advantage of that that 3rd base would be a lot more effective if you want to do the all-in. You don't have to do this all-in though. But if you are gonna macro, then you would want to maybe go 4 or 6 gates. 6 gates is the standard right now, but I think it's gonna be 4 in the near future. Okay. Normally this attack hits at 7:30-ish. So we're here at 8, which means, well, you did open with a bit more units than I would, but you can hit this attack a little earlier if your builds are lined up better. But yeah, you should be able to hit a really sharp attack here instead of, so more like I hit at 8 in this game, but you can definitely hit at 7:30 instead of your attack, which was at, you know, 9:30. And then he got the benefit from the 3rd base. He was super prepared because it was quite obvious you were all-inning him for quite a while. And so that's why it was, you know, a fairly easy hold for him. So yeah, hope you guys learned something from this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.